saying goodbye. Hundreds gather on Long Island to say a final farewell to an NYPD officer killed on the job.
Tracking another round of showers and thunderstorms. What to expect by morning.
Feeding those in need and feeding your soul, too. New York Live shows us the Migrant Kitchen. This is News 4 Now for May 4th. I'm Adam Cooperstein, and it's a final salute today for the NYPD officer killed by an alleged drunk driver. Hundreds gathered on Long Island as Officer Anastasio Sakos was laid to rest. The funeral service took place at St. Paraskevi Greek Orthodox Church in Greenlawn. The 14-year veteran was killed last week on a hit-and-run on the Long Island Expressway. Sakos leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. Right now, police are searching for a woman caught on video attacking 2 Asian women with a hammer. This happened Sunday night along West 42nd Street in Manhattan, and police say the woman told one of them to take off her mask, and then that suspect hit her in the head with a hammer and lunged at her 2 more times before attacking the other woman. One victim had a cut to her head. The NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force is now investigating. A New Jersey high school teacher has been suspended after students say he went on 2 racist tirades.
And I'll tell you something, I ain't privileged. I come to work, I haven't been getting paid by my black vice principal who thinks I'm privileged too.
This clip is from a Zoom class at Dickinson High School in Jersey City. A discussion on climate change devolved into Howard Zlotkin airing his grievances and yelling at students. Zlotkin also works at Hudson County Community College. The college tells us they saw a report and they suspended Zlotkin pending an investigation. We've reached out to Zlotkin repeatedly for comment. We still haven't heard back. Chinasia Campbell was arrested Sunday at JFK after arriving on an American Airlines flight from Miami. According to court documents, Campbell complained about her garbage not being picked up. She then started punching the flight attendant, pulling her hair, and eventually knocked her to the floor. We're told the flight attendant was not seriously injured. Campbell's public defender says that his client is currently undergoing mental health treatment. One of the most acclaimed restaurants in all of New York and across the world is shifting to a plant-based menu. 11 Madison Park says starting June 10th, it is going completely meatless and almost entirely vegan. The restaurant says it'll offer an 8 to 10 course menu meant to highlight sustainable produce. Chef Daniel Hum says 11 Madison Park will still offer milk and honey for coffee and tea, which means it's not going to be completely vegan. The first Monday in May is typically marked by fashion and celebrity on the steps of the Met. This year, things are a little different. We won't be getting a gala in May, but we are learning who will co-chair the postponed event in September. Actor Timothée Chalamet, musician Billie Eilish, poet Amanda Gorman, and tennis star Naomi Osaka are the co-chairs. In the meantime, the Costume Institute offering up a preview of its September exhibition, which will celebrate the Institute's 75th anniversary. That's when they're going to hold a more intimate version of the Met Gala. 8 months later, a second exhibition and a larger celebration is going to happen in its usual slot, the first Monday of May, but it'll be 2022. Well, get ready for more wet weather. Looks like more rain's in store for us tonight. So, Maria, got to bring that umbrella, right?
The rainy weather has been good. We've made up some of the rain deficit, but we are going to see more starting again this evening. So if you do have plans, plan accordingly. Early on, maybe some breaks in that overcast, allowing for a pretty mild evening temperature staying in the mid-60s. And then by 10 o'clock through the overnight, a few showers and thunderstorms. Some will have the heavy rain, very similar to the overnight that we just went through. Big puddles on the roadways, maybe some slowdown travel-wise, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, as far as temperatures go, no big drop. We have mid-50s in the city, upper 40s for White Plains, low 50s Poughkeepsie, and then across Long Island, Eastport, for example, into the mid and upper 40s. As we mentioned, made a little dent in the rain bucket for the deficit. By the time we wrap up Wednesday with more showers and thunderstorms expected in the afternoon, we'll add another ½ an inch to almost an inch of rain across the area.
From cooking great food to providing millions of meals for doctors and out-of-work service industry workers, New York Live shows you the Migrant Kitchen.
The Migrant Kitchen fed 2.6 million New Yorkers in need during the pandemic. We've come down to their pop-up ghost kitchen at the Cauldron on Stone Street, and let me tell you, this one's good for the belly and the soul. You guys have quite an amazing story with the Migrant Kitchen. How did it all come to be?
Well, I met Nasser many years ago when I started working at Lily, and he was working there as a waiter. I was working in the kitchen. Flash forward a few years, and we decided we want to start a catering company that would showcase the food of migrants that we felt were the true New Yorkers.
We initially started doing food for WeWork, and we had 1,000 plates in our fridge by the time the shutdown happened. And Dan and I were driving the truck, what are we going to do now? So we started donating the food. And then doctors who are friends of mine were asking for food because the restaurants shut down.
Originally, when the pandemic happened and when New York went on pause, everybody lost their job. And not everybody in this restaurant industry had unemployment benefits, something to fall back on. And I think our initial premise was to make sure we were able to feed these people, get these people back to work and take care of their families. One thing to provide food, it's another thing to provide culturally appropriate food. For example, we did a lot of halal meals for the community in Queens, Jackson Heights in particular. Worked with a lot of community organizations on the ground there to find out what it is that their community wanted and would eat and would accept.
Because that's not something you hear every day. You know, it's just like people are being fed what they can be given, you know, what's available. But you went above and beyond.
I don't believe it was above and beyond. I think it was the bare minimum required that should be met every single time.
So we can make a reservation here or just pop by?
Pop on by, otherwise we can make reservations on the Cauldron's website, and you can actually reserve one of these beautiful little bubbles.
I mean, your takeout and delivery business is huge.
Yes. You go on the Migrant Kitchen NYC.com website, you can order directly on our tablets. We're also available on delivery apps.
Guys, this looks delicious.
This is our interpretation of chicken and waffles. It is a basic fried chicken and waffle. However, it is gluten-free because it's breaded in cassava, and the waffle is actually a falafel. So it's a falafel waffle.
This is awesome. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your story and for everything you've been doing for New York City and the community. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure
so
having
much.
you here, and it's a privilege to do what we do.
Thank you.
In New York, Governor Cuomo gave the green light to something New Yorkers haven't enjoyed since the pandemic started 14 months ago. Broadway can reopen full capacity with social distancing May 19th. But you won't be able to catch a show in the Great White Way anytime soon. Even though this is the news the theater world's kind of been waiting for, there are a lot of concerns and still a lot to work out. Here's the reality about Broadway's return.
The cast photo is still accumulating dust. The theater still frozen in time. But Nikki Renee Daniels from the Broadway Musical Company is finally picturing a return to the stage.
It's great to see it, and, you know, I hope we can be back inside soon.
How soon is still unclear. Governor Cuomo today announced that all capacity restrictions will be lifted May 19th, including Broadway. And yet the Broadway League is still targeting September for reopening.
Yeah, I think September is possible. I also know that we have to get everybody on board with this plan in order for it to be realistic.
Broadway's top producers are encouraged as restrictions and COVID rates keep dropping. But as long as 6 feet of social distancing is still required, reopening doesn't add up economically.
We can't really do socially distanced shows on Broadway because the producers need to make money to pay the cast and everyone that works backstage.
Once we can go on sale, we can then start building Broadway back.
Kevin McCollum is the producer of Mrs. Doubtfire and the new show 6 that was shuttered by COVID on opening night.
The theaters were built, most of them, 100 years ago. And I think it's disingenuous to say there can really be social distancing in a Broadway theater.
Another question mark, when can rehearsals begin again? Most shows still haven't been told. And in March, hundreds of actors signed a petition to their own union, worried about the slow pace of progress.
I think there's been just a lot of frustration with the actors and feeling it in the dark.
Live theater is already happening off Broadway, but producers say there's still a lot to be worked out on Broadway, including the possibility of mandatory vaccinations or doing 4 shows a week instead of 8.
Without New York City's tourism at full go, do you think enough shows will be able to survive?
I do. I think we have challenges ahead of us, but I think that New Yorkers are so much about community and survival.
No question it's challenging. So what we as theater producers have to do in these early months of reopening is we really have to look who are our audiences here? Who are audiences in the tri-state area?
I do know that when Broadway's back, New York is back, and America is back.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.